Hey, hi, hello, what's up? My name is PJ, and you are listening to the Music Photo Podcast, session number 14. Welcome to episode 14 of the Music Photo Podcast. My name is PJ Pantelis. I'll be your host for today. You can find me on Twitter at PJPantelis. Welcome to the first episode of 2016. I'm thrilled to be here with you. This week on the show, we are very lucky to have our first repeat guest, I believe, Mr. Warwick Hughes. Warwick joined us for episode number 4, which was 10 episodes ago. And if you don't already know who he is, you might want to go back to that and listen to his story. He's a videographer and photographer, currently in Melbourne, but originally from Ulladulla, New South Wales. In this session, we're going to be talking about his Warped Tour stories. You're going to want to stick around until the very end as we cover things such as standing out on Warped as a videographer, staying sane on a long and grueling run, what to do when your gear breaks, building relationships overseas, and so much more. I don't want to spend too much more time talking as this was a very casual and free-flowing conversation. You might also be interested to know that since recording this episode, Warwick's announced that he's got a job next year with Vans Warped Tour as one of their video content creators, possibly head video content creator, I'm not sure. But anyway, he's got a really cool gig with them, and that's purely a testament to his hard work and all the networking that he did over there. As always, the show notes for this episode can be found at bigpantsphoto.com/podcast. For now, enjoy the show. Warwick, it's nice to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us for episode... I don't even know what episode we're up to. It might be 14 now.
Well, 14 is now my new lucky number, so yeah, awesome.
Thanks, man. Well, this is actually the third time that we've done this. The second time didn't work out too well, but we are back and we're here with a vengeance, and
Yeah.
I want to hear all about your Warped Tour stories. Even though it's been a little while, it's been a couple of months down the track, maybe that's just giving you a bit more time to reflect.
Yeah. Oh man, even every now and then I'll just wake up and I'll be like, oh, I remember this that happened, and it's just 2 months. It's so much happens, and you don't realize until you actually look back.
Yeah, well, I mean, from what I've experienced, after the first week or so, it all just blurs into one, and you end up just looking at your past again and again to try and figure out the dates.
Yeah.
But I can imagine, you don't have a perfectly clear memory of every single day of the tour, but we'd love to hear just some highlights. So tell us about, you were on the road with Trophy Eyes. You did Warped Tour 2015, the boys.
Yeah.
With Big Jace behind the wheel.
Yeah. And good old Marty, repping Dirty Rotten on the tour as well, and he was our merch dude and probably biggest legend in the world. So shout out to Marty from Dirty Rotten. He's not paying me for this. I'm just shouting him out. He's Dirty Rotten is his clothing line, and his stuff's actually pretty sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he slinging his own merch as well as the band merch?
Yeah, he was trying to. It's obviously a bit hard on the tour, but he just used the tour more of a promotional tool, which is great in that aspect as well. That's pretty much why everyone does Warped Tour, because it's perfect opportunity to network and gain contacts while also having the best time of your life. So yeah,
hell yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've heard that really interests me, is that everyone, obviously these sort of things, they're not gonna line your pockets with money. You're not gonna go home rich from this sort of thing. But everyone has their own sort of little ways of making a bit of extra cash on the side, or just making it worthwhile for themselves, whether it is, just promoting your merch line or whatever. Actually, Jennings was telling me about, is it Jeffrey from Capture the Crown?
Yeah, he was on the tour. He was doing merch for Modson. Was he doing merch for Modson, or what was he? I can't remember what he Did Jennings tell you what he was doing?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Do you want to just talk us through it real quick? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I remember he was walking around every day with a sign, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, well, Jennings was saying that this dude has his own really big fan base, whether it's, I don't know, the Instagram fans or the Tumblr fans or whatever. But he was doing merch for Modson, I think it was. Yeah. And he just had a sign next to the merch that said, kisses for tips. And he would just they would put in $1 and get a selfie with him, bit of a kiss on the cheek, and apparently he would just absolutely make bank every day. I thought that
Oh
was really clever.
yeah, it's a really smart idea. Merch dudes have like their own way of like making their money off the tips because, like, yeah, the money to be made off tips is phenomenal on tour. So, if I got the chance to do Warp Tour as a merch guy, I probably wouldn't be as great with merch because, like, I'm a little bit bad at math.
Hmm.
But in saying that, tips are good, so I
And you
can
also
probably
have an
make it up with
accent.
tips. Yeah, yeah, accents are huge in
Yeah.
America. Like it's ridiculous. It's pretty funny because like I was just thinking before we did this, I was just making some lunch and I was like, oh man, I remember for a lot of the Warp Tour, um, I had kids coming up to me nearly every day thinking I was West, the guitarist of Neck Deep. And
Oh,
it was like, it was funny at first, and the novelty wore off so quickly because
oh,
after you
really?
hear it, like towards the end of the tour, you've just heard it for like 6 weeks straight. Kids being like, "Oh, West from Neck Deep," and you have to be like, "No, sorry, I'm not." And then like I was chatting to West about it, and he was like, "Dude, honestly, just say yes, and just roll with it." And I was like, "All right." So I did that for like a week or so, and it was pretty funny.
Just take the selfies, Warwick. Just like treat them.
Yeah,
Treat them to an absolute selfie with the big
yeah.
daddy dub.
No.
Nice one. And so when did that tour start for you, and how long did it go for? Because I know Warped is an absolute monster.
Yeah, when did I fly out? Was it end of May or beginning of June? It's one of those. I remember I was like frantically finishing up projects. Well, I was finishing up projects just in general, and then basically I got a phone call being like, "Hey, do you want to do Warp Tour?" And I was like, "Yeah, sweet." They're like, "Cool, can you come Monday?" And they called me on the Friday, and I was like, "Ah, crap." And I was like, I was just in a really fortunate position that I didn't have any clients booked. Obviously, if I had clients booked, I probably would have been a bit more hesitant to do it, but my schedule was free for 2 months. So I was like, you know what? I've got nothing to lose here. Packed all my stuff up, flew 4 days later to America, and then I flew out on the 8th of August.
Hmm.
Was that the last date of Warp Tour? I can't remember. Yeah, it was somewhere around like the first week or so of August. I flew back, so yeah, it was good.
So that happened real quick, like literally like a few days before you went.
Yeah,
They were just like, "Hey, Warwick, how about
yeah.
you come along with us?"
Yeah, I was like,
Wow.
"Oh, okay. Yeah, sure." And like it was hectic because like just trying to sort things like all the paperwork stuff with Hopeless, like trying to work it out with them while trying to pack up my life. Oh, it was so stressful. I remember coming home and I looked at my bed and I still had like bits of cardboard and packaging because I bought external hard drives and I literally just like ripped them apart and just like put them in my bag
Quick,
and I
there's no
dumped.
time.
Yeah, so I was like, "There's no time to throw the cardboard out." So I was like, came back to this mountain of mess, which I've luckily cleaned up by now, obviously, because that was ages ago.
That
But
was a
yeah,
few months ago. Yeah, you're
yeah,
not still sleeping on the cardboard, you sure?
yeah. I don't know, mate. It's getting a bit cold sometimes here in like springtime. So
You need
you
that
know,
insulation.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nice. And where did the tour start?
um, Pomona, which is like down bottom Cali somewhere
West
ish. I'm
Coast.
terrible at geography, but yeah, somewhere down the bottom there.
Yeah, I mean I've just been over in the US and I'm still learning like
Oh,
I
it's
I,
hectic,
I got a
man.
big map like it's just the weirdest thing because the United States is basically the same size as Australia. Like if you put a
Yeah,
map on top of one another, they're
yeah,
almost
they're
the same
exactly the
size,
same. Yeah,
but the US just seems endless.
I know it's ridiculous. It's just like, just remember, like I think we were in Philly or something, and we were driving, or somewhere in Texas. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Actually, I think it was somewhere in Texas, and we were like, "All right, we'll leave the city now." And we were legit driving for 2 hours, and it was still like city. And we're like, "You're kidding me, right? Like this is absurd. Like how large this is."
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's just like I mean because our country is really big, but we've basically only got I mean major cities on the East Coast. And then there's
yeah,
Perth on the
yeah,
west, and then
yeah.
Adelaide, and like that's like basically that's a whole Australian tour. That's like 5 or 6 states.
Yeah, exactly. It's so it's like after you do US tour, you just look back at the times you complained on the Australian tours and you're like, "Oh man, that was shit like
It was like two
it's
weekends.
nothing."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. And you guys were riding in a sprinter, I believe.
Yep. which was great at the start because like in Australia, it's illegal to have sprinters and buses like that. So we like that was great, but yeah, for a 2 month tour, it's pretty rough. Plus, there was like a lot of mechanical problems. Oh, I actually just found out the other day that the company, like the Sprinter company rocket ships, it's like gone under. Like the company have just gone out of business because they've just got really bad vehicles. Yeah, who was telling me that? I can't remember.
The cars
I
are
don't
just like
know.
too Dodge.
Yeah, man. Like our first one broke down within like the first week of the tour.
Yeah.
And then the other one was literally falling apart. Like the panel, like the wood panel thing that had like the TV on it and everything like that was literally like falling off. And
Hmm.
like I was sleeping in the front lounge, so I was kind of worried that it would just like fall off and the TV would fall on me during the night. But luckily that didn't happen.
Wow. Okay. Well, just in case someone's wondering and hasn't seen a Sprinter before, it's like a big. It's like one of those big Mercedes vans, I guess, except it's got like
Yeah.
beds in the back.
Yeah, well, we have Sprinters in Australia. It's like the brand of Mercedes Benz. It's like
Oh, it is a
the,
Mercedes.
yeah, yeah. So it's like
Okay.
Mercedes Benz Sprinter
Right.
model. Because I actually saw one parked on my street last week when I was like, oh, it brings back memories.
You're
uh,
like, I feel tired all of a sudden.
yeah, yeah. It's like, oh man, I feel I just need to take a nap and drink some water. Yeah. It's like but obviously the ones in Australia are the more commercial kind of ones, so they're just filled with tools and whatever.
Right. Right.
But yeah, it's like just essentially a big van with bunks, like 5 bunks and 2 front lounges. So yeah, it's good.
And a television. And I remember you saying the sound was broken on the television.
Yeah, Marty fell on the remote one night, which was pretty funny. He fell and we heard this snap because the remote was in the cup holder, and he like snapped the remote, so so we couldn't change the sound for the rest of the tour on the TV.
So was it loud or soft?
Oh, it's so bad. Like if a movie was on, you could not talk. It was just like everyone had to be quiet while we watched a movie, and obviously you get a bit restless, and you only watch about half an hour of a film, and then you get over it.
Yeah. Not to mention like the car sounds when you're driving at like 85 miles an hour, which is
Oh
like
God, they're
I
so
think that's like
loud.
120
Mm.
kilometers. Like they drive fast over there.
Yeah, yeah, they're hectic. Like freeways over there are mental, but
Yeah.
yeah, like with the sound of the car as well, and it's just not worth
Hmm.
it.
Yeah. You just have to have the movie on your iPad as well, and then you can just listen to one and then watch the other.
Yeah, 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 exactly.
Nice. Okay, so you started in Pomona. How many
Yeah.
dates was on the tour?
44, I
Man, that's
think.
so big.
I think something like that. I don't know. It was pretty hectic, that's for sure.
And how many showers did you have?
Oh God, how I didn't have many showers at the start of the tour because we broke down and we are trying to catch up. I went like a solid week without a shower, and that fucking sucked because like
Really?
I had to wear the same clothes as well for nearly a week
Yeah.
because we're just trying to catch up on with the rest of the tour. And that was just, oh, that sucked so much. And then but after that, like you just get into habit. Like once you get a routine set up, you find time to do things like, have a shower and everything like that. And yeah, you just gotta make a quick shower. But if you do it frequent enough, it's not ideal, but at least you don't smell every day.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I struggle with, to be honest. Like at home, I'm like a 2 shower a day sort of guy, but
Yeah,
I guess it's just part of it. You just have to get used to it. Have to
yeah,
do the old like water bottle in the Walmart car park.
yeah, yeah. I did that
Oh, it's not.
endless times.
And I
But
mean,
man,
the
like
baby wipes help to a point, but
yeah, yeah. Baby wipes help when it's like when you got like sweat and things are sticking to you. It
yeah,
helps with that. But like, man, like when I came back from Warp Tour, I was like, I'm like being a hygiene addict like ever since. Like I'm the same as you now, man. Like 2 showers a day, nearly like most of the time. And oh, it's like I just need to be clean all the time. Still
yeah,
fucking dirt from
absolutely.
Warp Tour.
And I honestly can't even imagine because from the sound of it, Warped was just like stinking hot, like 100 degrees Fahrenheit every single day.
Yeah, it's pretty hot, but it's also like you have your different extremes. So on the East Coast, it's like so humid. Like I I can't even. begin to imagine how people live there during the summer, and it's just so hot and sweaty and humid, and then like a huge storm rolls over, and there's times during the tour that it was raining and everything, so it's pretty hit and miss. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty warm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, it sounds like the first few shows of the tour that we've just done, we're in Florida, and it sounds like it's stinking hot every day, and then it just rains all of a sudden, and then it just stops,
yeah,
and it's just like you just sweat profusely. Like even
yeah,
if you're clean, you step outside, you're sweating.
yeah. It's just it's
It's like being in Thailand or something.
yeah, terrible, terrible way to live.
Yeah. So what what do your days look like on Warped? Because there's a pretty big gap between shows. There's like I'm gonna say 6 to 10 hour drive between most shows.
Yeah, like I'd say on average, like not 6 to 10, probably 6 to 8.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it is a crazy schedule for crew. Not so much band, but obviously with Trophy Eyes, we had no crew. We were our own crew, so it was um, pretty full on. Like early starts and late finishes. So
So you drive through the night?
yeah, yeah. So Jason will be sleeping during the day while we're up and about doing our thing, and
That's
then
hard as well on a hot day in a sweaty car.
oh yeah, especially in the back of the Sprinter, all the heat just kind of sticks there. So Jason had to buy like an additional fan and just have that running for himself because yeah, like even just being in the van sometimes during the day was just like no, don't want to be here. Aircon was really terrible.
Yeah. Not to mention
Yeah,
Jason's a big guy.
yeah, yeah,
It's not
exactly.
just like I don't know. We've all got those little friends that can just like curl up somewhere and just sleep anywhere.
Yeah,
I feel like that'd be tough for Jace.
yeah, yeah, definitely tough for anyone that's a bigger dude.
Yeah. So you guys are pretty much driving overnight. Was there like an early load in for the bands, or I guess you
Um,
don't have a backline. That's all on the stages, right?
Yeah, so it's basically just kind of roll your gear. You want to try and get everything done in the morning essentially, so you don't have to think about it later. Because nothing worse than having to like because some of the places your car is heaps far or your bus whatever is really far from the venue, so you want to try and get all done in the morning so you don't have to walk and back and forth so much. It was so big at some places they had like a few dudes run around with golf carts and they're like, "Yo, you need a lift and stuff."
Like a
I
little
was
shuttle.
yeah, I was severely hungover after the APMAs, like the music awards
Hmm.
there. Like terribly hungover, and it was such a long walk. And I was walking back to get something like my glide cam or something. The guy went past, and I was just struggling, like walking slowly, just from my own infliction. And he was just like, "Hey, do you want to lift?" I'm like, "Yep." And that was like the only time I took a ride on one of those because, yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's hard as well being a crew member because I feel like you're just like as they go on the tour, you're like one of the least important people.
oh
You're
yeah,
like an extra. You're like a non. And I'm not saying you. I just mean in general, the people that are non-band and non, band managers or whatever. You're
mhm,
just an extra body.
yeah.
So I feel like they wouldn't be like jumping to give you a lift.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, especially with what I do, like, being a filmmaker and photographer, you're bottom of the food chain. You're an optional crew member. Like, they don't need you on the tour,
Right.
but, it's a nice thing to have.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, so when people take me on tour, I'm so grateful. Even if I was like a guitar tech or something like that, I'd still be so grateful to have
Hmm.
that opportunity. So, yeah, you just try and, like they obviously don't make you priority, but luckily with Trophy Eyes, they treated me as like another member of the band, and they were absolute legends. So I can't thank them enough for that.
Yeah. Well, you've got a pretty good relationship with them already. Like you've worked with them multiple times before this, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did like their music videos for their new album. Oh well, not their new album, but their current album.
Yeah.
And yeah, like just built a friendship out of that, really. So
Yeah.
that was
Cool.
good.
That will make it, I mean, infinitely easier because it's such an unnatural situation to be living that close with like six other guys for
Yeah,
that amount of time. I can
yeah.
imagine, I mean, yeah, and any sort of little annoying things that happen between band members, or anything that are these situations that wouldn't arise in real life? They would just become annoying because you're that close to the person all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So if your pals already, like, I can imagine that makes it 100% more easy.
Yeah, yeah, it just helps a lot better with like because you can't be like, "Oh, I don't know if I can say this because I wanna hurt their feelings." It's like
Right.
it's already there and, like, we're all adults, like, we're all, like well, as adults as you can be really when you're touring, like, you gotta have your fun while you're at it as well, but, for when an issue arises, it's like we can actually sit down and talk about it, and it's sweet, so,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so you've woken up, you're in the parking lot at Warp Tour. What happens next? When does your job begin?
Um It begins pretty much like straight away, but as the tour went on, I was getting up earlier just so I could have my own time to myself. That's very, very important when you're touring. So I was getting up at, just before 8 o'clock, getting up, going for like a jog, walk, run, whatever I felt on the day. And then I'd go to breakfast
And
and
it was
or
catered, right?
yeah, yeah. So we have like full catering room. Sometimes it was a tent if we're in a really remote place, but for the most part, it was in a room. So, or I might have a shower before I go there, and sit down, eat breakfast, just have a quick chat to whoever's there that and then go back to the sprinter, start editing, and then once the guys are up, I've probably finished my editing by then. So, given the content from the day before,
Hmm.
and then I get all my camera gear ready and start shooting again.
Did you have to prepare a small video for each date, or mainly just like photos and stuff for Instagram?
Um, we were trying at first we were like, "Yep, let's do a video every day." And then it got to a point where we were like, "Well, we don't want to do videos every day because we want to save a lot of the content for the tour diary."
Hmm.
So we only did it on like select dates. So like I'd just be chatting with John or something like that, and he'd be like, "All right, yeah, I think we need to do an Instagram video for today because that show was sick or
Okay.
whichever." So
Just pick
um,
and choose the best ones.
yeah, but photos every day, 100%,
Yeah.
because that was more of my deal with Hopeless, because they were the people that paid for me to be there and stuff, so they were definitely like, "Alright, cool, you need to, like, we need this every day and everything," so, yeah.
Okay. Cool. And Trophy Eyes, I'm guessing like reasonably low down the totem pole, being their first warped. That would they play at like what, like 12:30, 1 o'clock every day? What time would they be playing?
Well, it varies every day, like, you don't know your set times until ten AM on
Really?
the day, yeah, so, like, some days we'd be playing, midday, 1 PM,
Yeah.
and sometimes it'd be closing the stage, so you're playing at 8 PM,
Right.
or, like a prime time on Warp Tour is probably like 3 PM, I'd say, for playing like a smaller stage per se.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you you film and photograph Trophy Eyes. Do you edit that day, or did you sorry, you said just before you edit in the mornings, is that right? So you edit the next morning?
No, I try and edit that day as
Hmm.
well. Basically just try to get as much done as I can on the day, but sometimes there's leftover stuff like later at night I'd be more working on the tour diaries and doing that in the morning as well,
Right.
because that was kind of like a constant project and it was really rough to kind of juggle everything, like trying to build all the content together. But once
Yeah.
I got that rhythm, it was like I could stick to it, so it was great.
Yeah, I mean, that must be the hardest thing on the road, finding a routine, finding a groove, because I can imagine it would just be so easy, especially with all the footage you must be taking in one day. It
Mhm.
must be so easy to fall behind. You're like one day you're like, "Oh, that's okay, like I'll do that tomorrow." But then
Yeah,
maybe you don't have power tomorrow, or you don't have Wi-Fi for a couple of days or whatever. So I can imagine it'd be
yeah.
so easy to fall behind.
Yeah, definitely. It was great because I love that challenge. I knew Warp Tour was going to be a great challenge for myself personally and for my career. And I'm really glad that like every day I was waking up to a new challenge and I was like, oh well, how am I going to fix this? Because there's no filmmaker like you know head of filmmaking and photography on Warp Tour. It's on your own.
Yeah, right.
There's definitely other photographers and filmmakers that can help, but when it's your content that you need to get out there, it just really shows you discipline.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can imagine it's kind of like going from school to uni. Like maybe here you'd be working with someone from the label that you're in contact directly with, but on Warped you're kind of on your own. You've got to be a bit autonomous. You've got to have the responsibility to get it done before you can fully relax and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And those days where like get everything exactly on schedule and I smash it and get it done before I plan to, and I can take an hour or two for myself, and because like the band might be doing something like, say for example, they'll be doing media and interviews, so they'll be busy doing that. And I'm like, all right, cool. Well, I got a bunch of time for myself now. I'm gonna go check out some other band or take some photos of where we are, because it's you need to find something outside of Warp Tour to do during Warp Tour. Otherwise, you're just gonna go insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would imagine as exciting and stimulating that it must be, it would also be kind of the same thing every single day.
Yeah, it gets to the point. Like that's why you lose track of um times, dates, and things that happen, and you can't match it up because it's literally just all over the place.
Hmm.
Like it's like the same. Yeah.
And what were the media? Was there like a media tent or like a media room or something at most venues?
There was like there was a media area that so every day obviously they have like the local magazines, papers, whatever,
Hmm.
covering Warp Tour for that day. So they would all go to like this media room, and Danielle was running that, and she was awesome. I can't thank her enough as well for helping me on the times that I needed power or Wi-Fi, or just needed time just to get away from everything and really sit down and be like, I need to get this editing done, because editing in the Sprinter, it's hard with distractions because people coming in and out to collect things.
Sure.
So, or like they're talking and stuff, and just being in a parking lot in general is really loud. So media room's just dead quiet.
Okay. Yeah, and is that sort of available to everyone, or do you have to sort of like have a
Um,
special reason to be in there?
yeah, it is a kind of special treatment. Like I basically, when I first liked Danielle, it was kind of like she was really lovely, but she explained to me why I couldn't be in the room, and I was completely, I was like, all right, yep, I understand. But I got to a point where I was like, hey, look, please, can you help me out? I can do something to help you in return. Like if you need to get something, I can get that for you, or
Hmm.
anything like that, just to help out in return. And yeah, so we worked out an agreement, and that was great. So
Okay, cool. And was that the only source of Wi-Fi available on the tour?
not really. Like, most of the time I just hotspot on my phone, if we're in like a more remote area. But if we're in a generally popular kind of spot, I'd go to the shopping mall, go to a Starbucks,
Okay, yeah.
or wherever else has free Wi-Fi. Because with free Wi-Fi over in the States, it's pretty good most of the time.
Yeah. Um, yeah, mixed reviews. Mixed reviews
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
Did you
it
get
is mixed, man.
did you get a US SIM?
Yes, I did, and I still have it in my wallet, which is probably a terrible idea. It's probably broken now,
It's
and I've
probably
lost my
fried by
US
now.
number. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good though. Like the prepaid, I got like a prepaid AT&T one, and it was
Yeah,
like 30-40 bucks, unlimited text and calls, and you get like a little bit of like high speed Wi-Fi and then unlimited slow.
yeah.
But I don't know if you tried on the slow speeds, you can still like FaceTime and Skype and call really, really clearly.
Yeah, yeah. I remember I was FaceTiming my dad, because my dad, he's a bit, special when it comes to technology, as most parents are.
Right.
And we were emailing, and like it was taking forever to email me back, and I was FaceTiming my sister, and she called my dad and was like, "Look, you need to get an iPhone." So my dad went out and bought an iPhone just so he could FaceTime
Really?
the tour. So shout out to my dad for keeping up with technology.
On your dad.
Yeah.
So like he bought an iPhone specifically so he could like FaceTime with you?
Yeah, yeah, it
Oh, that's
was
so cool,
really
man.
cool. Like I wasn't really expecting that, but it was a bit of a struggle to email like back and forth, and like my dad's my last father, like my last parent in my life. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a mom, don't have grandparents or anything, so it's really important, like our relationship. So
He's your
that
boy.
was, yeah, yeah, he's like my homie, so it was really sick that he did that.
Yeah, cool. I like it. Yeah, I remember. I don't know if I'll put this bit in. This is a little bit embarrassing, but I remember FaceTiming my dad at one point, and he was with my grandparents.
Yeah,
And dad's got like a fancy iPhone, whatever. He's like pretty down with that stuff. But
yeah.
he was showing it to my grandparents, and they were just like shocked. They're like two like Greek immigrants, like they're old school. They were like amazed, and they were
Yeah.
like trying to kiss the screen and stuff. They're like, "Oh, it's beautiful! It's so beautiful." Technology is amazing, man.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. All right, cool. So at this point, let's say for argument's sake, your responsibilities are done for the day. Like
Yeah.
you've done the edits that you need to do. Can you enjoy the rest of the day, or are you pretty much on the go? Are you like, what are you doing? Networking? Did you do any work for some other bands? How does the rest of
Uh,
the day look after your responsibilities are done?
um, like once my work was done, it's kind of like I'm free to do whatever I want, because we did talk about that at the beginning of Warp Tour as well. And then one night we were partying in, like, we had all our work done, so we were just, having a party, having a bunch of beers in the parking lot, and we were hanging out with the Amity dudes, and that's when we became friends of them. And Joel turned to me and he's like, "Hey, I really like the videos that you're doing with Trophy Eyes. Do you want to come do some with us?" And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Yeah, sure." Like just short Instagram videos, not like documentary stuff. I would never, wouldn't be able to do that. Juggle both of them. So I did that for a bit as well, which was nice, like for a week and a bit. Um, and yeah, it was basically whenever I had free time, I was allowed to do whatever I wanted, but I was still, it's Trophy Eyes. They brought me out, and I forever in their favor. So I would always have my camera with me just in case I needed something shot or anything like that. So
Yep.
always got to be prepared.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Because you had your FS7 and you had the 6D, right?
Yeah,
And I remember, you just reminded me when you said you had your camera with you all the time. It broke down or it stuffed up at one point, didn't it?
yeah, in Nashville. That was actually a bad time for all photographers on the tour. Like, well,
Yeah.
not all of them, but a few other people had problems that day as well. But yeah, there was a tornado like 8 miles from the venue, and it was just really crappy weather. Didn't even get that much rain on it, but must have got it in the right spot because it
Right.
just fried my 6D, and then it just didn't, like, couldn't work it properly. Like the function buttons were doing other things, and yeah, it was pretty stressful time. But like my mate Max, he told me to wrap it up in a jumper and just keep it nice and warm, and just leave it like that for a few hours. And I did it for like 4 hours, and it's still working. So
There you
it's
go.
good. Yeah,
Max Veklo?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Ah, yes, he's a podcast guest of the past.
yeah,
He's a knowledgeable man.
yeah.
Yeah, so the jumper, that's I guess that's like the equivalent of sticking the phone in the bowl of rice. Is it like that sort of deal?
Yeah, basically, it's
Just
like,
like dries it out.
yeah.
Because I'm just wondering, like, was it like a really humid day? Was it really hot as well? Was it just the water that did it?
Nah, it was just a crappy wet day. It
Yeah.
was, yeah, it was cold. I woke up and I dressed as if it was summer because I thought it'd be humid, but no, it was freezing. Oh
Damn.
god, that day was so cold. Actually, come to think of it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I'm just wondering, I know you have the Sigma 3514.
Hmm.
Do you know if it's weather sealed or not? Because I've often wondered that when it starts to drizzle or something and I've got that lens on.
Well, it survived a lot. It survived like 2 months of being knocked about and rain and whatever else, and it's worked. And it's fine, still
Okay.
fine, still works great. So I'm assuming so.
I hope so.
So shout out to Sigma.
See, they're making the best lenses in the world at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I might be a bit biased because, I use it and you use it, but I think bang
Oh
for your
man.
buck, they're the best.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, cool. So apart from Amity, were you working with any other bands over there?
Yeah, I worked with Seaway, who were absolute legends. Like, yeah, just doing the same kind of thing, like a few Instagrams and a few like and photos with them. Helped out other filmmaker. Like there was only three filmmakers on the tour really, and
That's
Carlo
cool, man. That's
from
good for you.
yeah, yeah. Like having like a few select filmmakers was like really cool. It just really separated us from the other photographers.
Yeah, hell
Like,
yeah.
don't get me wrong, like the photographers on the tour are pretty cool.
But
But
just a dime a dozen.
yeah, but it's like when it's just like a few filmmakers, you can just talk about that, and when it's only like three of you, you're like in nerd heaven essentially.
Just in
So
a very secluded, exclusive nerd heaven.
yeah, exactly.
Because I can only imagine that, if there's a lot of photographers, unintentionally, there might be a bit of, competition, or there might be also, it would just be a lot harder to differentiate yourself. If everyone's shooting
Yeah.
the same thing every day with essentially the same gear and the same angle, the same pass. Whereas
Mm.
if there's a few video guys, I mean, what you're doing is a little bit more special.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone has their own style of filming, which is a huge difference to photography because obviously, you watch a video and you sit there and you watch the content for however long it is. So Josh, who's Neck Deep's video dude, like he has this crazy camera techniques. And I've got my like glide cam set up, but also have like I tried to do like close up handheld stuff and um yeah, then there was Carlo who was trying to do really cinematic shots because he's probably one of my favorite filmmakers like when it comes to music videos.
Okay.
So yeah, we all have our own different styles and we knew that we weren't ever gonna try and invade each other or anything like that. So it was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, just give me a second. I want to see what I've got left on my questions. I
Cool.
haven't even looked at it yet, which is good.
That's good.
What did you take with you in terms of like luggage? Like, I know what cameras you had, but what did you take with you,
Um
to wear?
I I just took a bunch of not like probably 10 days worth of clothes and then I just kind of collected merch along the tour,
Yeah.
which kind of helped a lot. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, not much really. Like, and obviously, yeah, standard toiletries and everything else that you need.
Yeah. Did you get a chance to do laundry much?
Um, yeah, questionable.
Not
But
enough.
yeah, not essentially not enough. But yeah, it was still a good good amount of time that we got with laundry when we could on our off days.
Hmm.
So
And
yeah,
on the plus side, underwear is very cheap at Walmart.
yeah, exactly. Just go to Walmart, buy everything.
Yeah.
Like,
Socks and undies, and then you can wear the same dirty band t-shirt for a week.
yeah, exactly. No one knows. Just get a black one.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
Oh no, that's horrible. Turn it inside out, back to front. There you go. You got 4 days from the same pair of jocks.
Yeah, that's it.
8 if you want to stretch it.
Yeah.
Did you have insurance before you left? Did you get insurance in Australia?
Yeah. Got like a bit of insurance. I didn't really read the terms and conditions. I was just like, all right, you cover me for this much. Hopefully that's enough. Sign up.
Right. So,
And,
do you know,
yeah.
like, for example, with your camera, if it had died completely, do you know, would you have been covered?
If my 6D died and my MacBook got smashed or stolen, yeah, but not my FS7. It's just too much of a liability.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because FS7, it all of a sudden goes from trying to cover 5 grand worth of gear to 20 grand worth of gear, and that's a lot.
It's quite a jump for one, essentially just like a metal brick. It's quite a
Yeah,
jump.
yeah, exactly.
What did your workflow look like? Because I can imagine the FS7 shoots some pretty big files, so that's probably going to be a lot of storage.
Yeah, I took three hard drives, and yeah, you just gotta hope that's enough. And it luckily was. I took 2.5 terabytes worth of hard drives, and I filled up 2.2 terabytes.
Okay, so you got
So
close.
I got close and I was starting to freak out, but I did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and did you have an extra one for backup, or was it just like,
Nope, just those three.
wow, you live on the edge, my friend?
Look, honestly, when you spend that much money on gear, you're like, you know what? I feel like I live life dangerously now. I really wish that was the case, but no, it wasn't. I just was a bit naive, and I was like, oh, that won't happen to me. And sure enough, one of my hard drives nearly died on me, so I had to get a new one from Best Buy, and I just managed to transfer the files before the hard drive died completely.
Yeah, shit. Because I mean, a month into this tour, I can imagine that little box, that little hard drive is the most valuable
Yeah,
piece of kit in the whole bus at that stage.
yeah, that's it. But
Instruments can be replaced, cameras can be replaced, but a month worth of Warped Tour
footage,
memories,
yeah.
footage, photos, yeah.
It's pretty stressful, but I was really fortunate. I got a think tank bag when I got all my new camera gear,
Hmm.
and that 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 bag is like compartment central, so it's got like a section where you can put all your hard drives in it, and yeah, it's just so secure and padded. So like someone was sitting on it by accident at one point, and it was fine. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to look at a new bag. My one broke just recently, and
Oh, really?
I'm just really nervous because like one of the zips is really dodge, and
Yeah.
if the front zip opens up, then everything is just gonna fall out on the floor.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
need to spend some serious money on like a proper bag.
Mate, thin tank is the way to go. It's not even that expensive. I think mine was only like $200 ish
Okay.
from memory, or 400. I don't know. Still pretty good. So
Yeah, and it's something that you'll have for a long, long time.
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know if I'm impressed or worried about the lack of backups. I don't know, just like when I was away, that was like one thing that was always going through my head. I was
Yeah,
like, I had 2 terabyte hard drives, one with all my stuff, and then at the end of like a week, I would back it all up to the second,
yeah,
and then I would also put my stuff on Mara's hard drive as well from the band.
yeah,
But even so, like I'm just funny about that stuff. I didn't have nearly
yeah,
as much stuff as you, in terms of like video footage or whatever.
yeah. And it's definitely taught me for future tours and everything like that to definitely have a backup. So I've looked at it now and I'm like, yep, I'm gonna buy a backup every single time. Whether it just be like so pretty much at the beginning of every tour, buy a whole bunch of fresh hard drives. So yeah, it's just keeping that in front of me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it, but I've heard that there's some really good like Amazon has a really good service where you can. It's essentially Dropbox, but it's not supposed to be accessed. It's not shareable like Dropbox, so you can just like upload your stuff. I think it's called Glacier. You
Mm.
upload terabytes of stuff to there, and you only access it if all your other backups fail.
Oh, crazy.
So like if you, for example, I've got a couple of like desktop hard drives that back up my portables, but
Yeah,
if my house was to burn down, then like everything's gone.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
like having everything on the Glacier is like your third line of defense. So I
yeah,
reckon in the future, I reckon that's probably what we're all going to be doing
yeah,
because
definitely.
there's only so much you can do.
Yeah,
Technology fails.
all the time.
What have you been up to since Warped? Because that was a few months ago now.
Yeah, I came back, did a few shoots. Well, that sounded really unenthusiastic. um, I did a couple of music videos in Sydney, which I was psyched about, and they're out now. As for one was for Our Past Days, and the other one was for Perspectives, and we
Hmm.
just released the Perspectives one. Um, and I did like a wedding as well, which was completely different to what I'm normally
Yeah,
used to.
cool.
So
Whose
that
wedding
was
was it? Was it like a friend or was it?
no, it was some wedding company was like, "Oh, your camera films in super slow motion. Do you want to like we'll pay you a substantial amount of money to come and film super slow motion all day as like a B-roll camera?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds sick." And
That's like the best wedding gig ever.
it was great because like the other guy was setting up all these other cameras and he was kind of just running around and I was just like, "Yep, 150 frames, press record, get the shot. Like it's hard to make things look bad at 150 frames. That's for sure.
Right.
Um,
So the other dude was getting like all the high pressure shots. He was getting the kiss and like cutting the cake
yeah,
and stuff, and you were just like slow
yeah,
motion.
that's it. Slow motion candid shots. It's
Yeah.
always great. Oh yeah. I and then after that, I went on tour with As It Is.
Oh yeah.
Went to Japan, and did an Australian tour straight after, and that was incredible. Like that was probably it's been up there one of my funnest tours I've
Oh
ever done.
cool.
It'll probably go like Warp Tour As It Is without a doubt. Like just because Japan was mental. It
Yeah, I
was
can imagine they
crazy.
would go off in Japan.
Yeah, yeah. Japanese people are so lovely. I wish everyone lived like the way Japanese people do because they're
Yeah.
so nice and respectful. And yeah, it was just like just a lovely country with great people, and yeah, the shows were insane. So it was their first Japan tour and they sold it out. It's like sold out
Crazy.
the whole tour. So
How many dates?
good. Oh, that was only like five shows.
Hmm.
And yeah, then we flew straight from there to Australia and started the run in. Well, I started the run in Brisbane because they physically couldn't get me to Perth because there was no flights going from Japan to Perth.
Right.
So they went to Perth and they just flew me to Brisbane and we just met up the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's kind of standard, I guess. Perth is just like it. Honestly, you can do the whole of the West Coast for the price that it takes to get someone to Perth.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's terrible. And I'm doing a tour in April, and I'm just waiting for them to be like, "Yeah, we can't take you to Perth." Like,
You're
just
just
kind of,
expecting it
yeah,
already.
I'm just expecting it. Like, I should text them and be like, "Oh, so about Perth," because
Right.
they've done Australia a few times, so they probably understand it. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave them to sort that because that's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah, sure. But that would
Yeah.
have been okay. So you had like a day off in Brisbane, did you?
Yeah, I had a day off with the merch guy because he couldn't make it either to Perth. So
Mhm.
him and I just I used to live in Brisbane, so showed him around as much as you can, show people around Brisbane, and yeah, that was nice just to kind of have a day off, but still had editing to do because Fearless were like, we really want these diaries out ASAP,
Yep.
and like totally understanding. So got my responsibilities, so just did the work, and then yeah,
And
then
then
just
went
started the
back up with
tour.
the package. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a pretty hectic tour though, because the drives you don't have any power while you're driving,
Yeah,
so
true.
you can only edit for about an hour. Then my MacBook dies, and I was like, sick. All right, looks like I got 7 hours of looking out the window, and it's
Yeah.
not like you try to film, and like it's just not as exciting as an American tour because it's just always stuff happening. But yeah, like we did the music video as well in Newcastle, which
Oh yeah.
was
On the
that was
beach?
yeah, on the beach illegally. Well, not so much. Yeah, it was illegal, but we didn't really ask for permits. We just like our mentality was if we rock up early enough, no one's gonna call the cops on us,
For
and they
playing the
didn't.
drums on a beach
Yeah, and they
at
didn't,
sunset,
and
like sunrise.
we made the local paper as well. Like some reporters came down and like they thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, we didn't realize the beach that we were filming on was like the main beach of Newcastle. So we
All
finished
right.
filming at like 7, 8 a.m. And as we're walking all the gear back, everyone's going for their morning walks, and we're just like, "Sup?" Just carrying
Yo.
all this whole back line back to the van.
Yeah, with 5 Americans.
Yeah, or UK British
Are they from
people.
the UK?
Yeah, British people, except for Paddy, he's American. So
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool, man. So wait, were you guys making a lot of noise or was it
no, we try to mute everything as much as we can, but luckily with the beach, noise doesn't really travel that much because it's all washed out by the
waves and
waves.
stuff? Yeah.
So yeah, we muted everything, but we were like, all right, cool. We need to smash this out as quick as we can because if we get shut down, it's gonna suck. But we finished, and it was like small crowds of people watching us, and they were
Mhm.
really intrigued, and they just found it cool. And I was like, sweet,
Yeah, hell
don't.
yeah.
So
You
it
got
was
away with
worth.
that one. You didn't have to hire, didn't have to get any permits or anything. That's the
No, just
perfect
rock
crime.
up, start shooting. Yeah, that's it. Like,
Yeah.
come on, email me, and we'll do another illegal shoot.
Yeah. Bring it on. You like a
Yeah,
challenge.
yeah, that's it.
Um,
Um,
cool, man. And then on Newcastle to Melbourne from there?
oh God, I don't even know where we went from. We did Newcastle. Yeah, Newcastle to Melbourne. That sounds right. something like that. Newcastle to Melbourne, Newcastle Sydney. No, Newcastle to Melbourne. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
just
Newcastle's after Sydney.
yeah. So Sydney, go back up to Newcastle, and then go down to Melbourne. So that was again just sucks. But now I got told that you can get portable chargers for your MacBook, so gonna invest in one of those as well.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, you can get them online for. You can get like one for like $400, and it does like 3 charges of your MacBook.
How big is it though?
It's like, I don't know, like this kind of like hamburger shape, I guess, because people
Yeah.
can't see me doing this motion.
Yeah, too
So
bad it's an audio podcast, but just imagine
yeah,
like the Hungry Jack's Whopper ads
yeah,
where they
that's
walk
it.
in and they hold up their hands. That's what
Yeah,
Warwick just did.
yeah, it's a Whopper. But yeah,
Can you take
so
that on a plane though? Because I know there's like a limit to the size of battery that you can take on a plane.
you just chuck it in, you get checked in, and then because like, well, for me, I don't really go on my MacBook when I'm flying.
Yeah,
Like when I'm flying, that's a pretty important. Unless I actually have work to do, and it's like I have no choice, I have to work on a plane.
that's rough,
Um,
man.
yeah, like
Working on a plane.
most of the time it's just zoning out and just having my own time. So
I honestly don't know how you can do that. Working on a plane or even like doing your work in the Sprinter because I just feel like after looking at the screen with the MacBook essentially on your lap, I
yeah,
mean, I guess it's a little higher on the plane, but it's still like way too close. I just feel like my
yeah,
neck would be hurting after half an hour. I just want to
yeah.
quit.
It's pretty rough, but you just got to adjust to your surroundings, I guess. Like again, it's one of those things like you don't have a choice. Like what you're gonna tell them the reason why your project's late is because you were
Because your
uncomfortable.
neck is
Like they
sore.
don't care. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
they don't. It's like all right, well we won't hire you again.
Yeah.
So
Here's a
yeah,
Sukilala.
yeah, exactly. You just got to get used to it and don't be a princess about it.
Right. That's my problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell from the webcam, but like you're basically looking down at me from where I am because I've got
Oh,
my
really?
computer sitting
Yeah,
up so high.
yeah,
But it's good for my back and neck.
yeah. And here's me just slouched down on the couch
You look so
because
comfortable though.
I'm so comfortable,
Yeah.
man. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
know like for anyone listening you can't see what's going on, but Warwick's sitting on a couch, but he's basically lying down right now.
Yeah, I actually am. I'm like got my legs up on the little table here, so it's a good
Nice.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, treat yourself, mate.
that's
Enjoy
it.
it.
I've only got like a few more shoots left of the year, so I'm just kind of trying to, like concentrate, but at the same time not put too much pressure on myself. So
Yeah.
it's just like a rough time of year because I got these last lot of shoots to do, and I go home for Christmas. This is the first time I have a shoot after Christmas, and I have to hurry getting home. So I get 10 days off at Christmas, come back, and the day after I come back, I go straight to Falls Festival, and I'm filming like Falls Festival, like
Cool.
working for them, which is pretty cool. Like, gonna be a nice change of pace, but yeah, it's just really, just like a really kind of odd timing because I'm not used to it.
Hmm.
But after that, I'm like hopefully getting a bit of time off. I'm still waiting to hear back on a few things first. So yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. And what have you been working on at the moment? Because I know the last few days you've been doing some editing.
Yeah, I have. Hold on. Let me pull out my old trusty iPhone because that kind of helps me dictates what I've been doing in my life
I think you
because
just want to whip out your shiny new iPhone.
I do. This iPhone's great. Oh yeah, I worked with the Rubens. That was
Oh,
really cool.
cool. For like one of their last shows.
Yeah, like
I
that.
like the ribbons.
Yeah, it's weird, completely different change of pace. So that was fun. And then I shot a music video after that for like a Melbourne female band, which was sick because just doing something different. So I've been editing those 2 projects at the moment, and then is that all I've been doing? I think that's all I've been doing for
Cool.
the meantime. Yeah, yeah. So I just I took a month after the I took a month off after the As It Is tour because things were just too hectic and I just needed a break. So I took like a solid 3 week break. But at the
Hmm.
same time, 3 weeks after working nonstop for 6 months, it drives you insane.
Oh, like it's too long, you mean?
Yeah, it's way too.
Really?
And like,
I thought you were gonna say it goes like that. I thought you were gonna say it's like
yeah.
blink of an eye.
Well, I I was just like on the first week, just catching up on life. So just catching up with friends, family, catching up on TV shows and things like that. Like, I don't know, you just miss out a lot when you're on the road.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, then after a week, I was like, all right, cool. When's my next project? I'm like, oh, it's not for like another 3 weeks or something. So, yeah, just after a while, like I just go a bit crazy. But now I know that I can now have time to work on personal projects.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like a new goal for me to do. I'm just constantly learning more and more about myself, like mentally and physically, about how my body reacts on projects and tours. It's an endless cycle, but I love it.
It's like nothing else, like the highs and lows and the cycle and just like the day-to-day living of a tour. And I've never done Warped Tour like you have, or like any of those big ones. It's just mentally and physically, it's unlike anything else.
Yeah, yeah, it's just a whole nother world that you can't explain it to people. Like they just got to experience it for themselves so they can understand like where I'm coming from. It's hard for me with my family because no one in my family like tours or anything like that in the first one. So it's taken them a while to understand, but like they kind of get it now. So yeah, it's good. It's
Nice
good
one,
to have
man.
like a nice support thing. It's very, very important to have a nice support around you. So
Yeah, and it sounds like you're in a much better place.
yeah, yeah. Just like finished up like my mental health plan, which was incredible. So again, like if you're a creative, and you're under a lot of pressure and you're under a lot of work, I highly recommend like reaching out, seeing a psychologist. Like it was really stressful for me to do it, but after I did it and did the first initial steps and meeting up with my psychologist, it's been great ever since. So yeah, strongly recommend that everyone does that.
Right. There's more to it. There's more out there for you if you're struggling. It gets better,
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
yeah, exactly,
You just
man.
got to
Like
want to. You got to put you've got to take the first step.
yeah, that's it. And then after that, things have just get better, and I'm now happier than I've ever been. So
You seem like it, man. You
yeah,
seem very happy and positive. I like it.
that's it, man. Got to keep the positive vibes.
Cool, cool. On that note, let's chop it off. Let's leave it there. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate your knowledge and stories and experiences.
No worries. Thanks for having me, man.
I can see you've since the first session we have, you've obviously grown. You've grown as a person, and you've seen a whole lot of stuff along the way, it looks like.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So I'm sure before too long, I'm sure we'll have another chat like this, and we'll see what you're at, what cool stuff you're doing.
Yeah.
For anyone listening, where can we contact you and where can we check out your stuff?
I just updated my website, so please go to my website because I'm super happy that I actually got time to do it. So you
Nice.
go to sinkorswimproductions.com,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got a nice little video and photo tab there. You can like check out all my cool stuff, or well, I
Delicious.
hope you think it's cool. And then on Instagram, my Instagram is Warwick Film, so WARWICK Film. So
Warwick.
Warwick
Cool.
Film for all you international people that don't know how to say it.
Yeah, I'll put the all the spelling and all the links in the show notes as well for this page on the blog. That's at bigpantsphoto.com/podcast. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Thanks. All right. Thanks, mate.
Take care, mate. Thank you so much for making it to the end of another episode of the Music Photo Podcast. I really appreciate your patience and persistence. My question to you is, if you are listening to this, where are you listening to it? Are you listening on the website? Do you listen on iTunes, YouTube maybe? If you're listening to this right now and you got all the way through to the end, I would love you to tweet me at PJ Pantelis, PJPantelis. I'm going to choose a couple of people that tweet me and just let me know, say what's up and let me know where they're listening. I've got a couple cool things to give away, so I won't say much more, but I would love to hear from you, and I'm very curious to find out. If you are interested in this sort of content, I also have a free ebook available on the website. It's about exactly what you need to take killer band promos. All you got to do, punch your email address in, I'll send it right to you. All the gear in the book costs less than $130. Thank you again for listening. I wish you all the very best for 2016 and happy shooting. I'll see you next time. Bye.